All right, so I'm beginning to take this wheel off. Normally there's 2 bolts that hold it in the back. This wheel is so trash, it's garbage.
Yeah, I remember when I first had looked at
So I just broke the whole cover off. Fuck it. Gotta get this little ring off. Get the ring off. Use the steering wheel puller. Should be able to knock this right out. It's gonna be a step by step. I'm not gonna be able to record all of this, but I try to give it to you as much as I can. I'm gonna say this right here is probably the most nerve-wracking part of this. I found my old steering wheel pulley that I bought from my Caprice a while back when I was swapping out, putting an aluminum steering wheel on. But I had to find one of the bolts. This was the original one. This one I borrowed from my buddy. And let's just see. Oh boy, I hate this part. Finally. Y'all don't know what I just went through, man. Bent up one of my pullers. My boy Dre helped me out, man. We use everything. Slide hammer, we apply some heat to it. Hit it with a little bit of penetrating oil. But he helped me out. We used a few spare parts from his puller and he got me right, baby. Motherfucking Dre to the rescue. Alright. I think I gotta use the puller. So this is the main pain in the ass part about this to me, other than pulling the wheel, was getting this little snap ring off. Kind of got to fish it. And it's going to be tough for me to do this with one hand because I'm actually using 2 different style of picks. So let me see. I doubt that I'm going to get a good angle for y'all, man. I'm really trying. But try to use 2, man. Use a curved one like I got right here, and use a straight one like I got in the other hand, and just try to fish it out. Give me a second. So it's a success. It's a success. Got tongue twisted there. So I use these 2, fished it off, got it up right here, and I can back the lock, little lock plate puller or lock plate pusher, whatever you want to call it. I could back it off a little bit. This is a little finicky tool too, so be a little careful with this thing, man. So it's a little finicky. You can't apply too much torque. I noticed that with this one in particular, it's probably not all of them. This one is a cheap one from Amazon. Maybe that's the issue, but if you apply too much torque to it, either this kind of backs out, and this seems to never want to thread into the coupler itself, right? This threads on just fine for the most part, but this bad boy doesn't really want to thread in that much, and you don't want to eat up, you don't want to really chew up the threads. So it's a real finicky little tool, but I mean, got the job done. So I mean, you know, it only cost a couple bucks. So if you want to buy it just to have it, I say buy it. That's if you do this type of thing a lot with these GM cars, or you know, you can just rent it from AutoZone or wherever, I guess. But got it off. And I can continue my little move. Yeah, I'm using a Tide pod container as a storage. So don't judge me, because I'm pretty sure y'all did worse. Just remember, y'all, be very careful, man. Don't make the first mistake I made when I first started pulling my steering wheel. I didn't put the nut back on it as protection. Now, luckily, I didn't chew the threads up. Can it focus? There we go. The threads are still intact for the most part, but the little beginning point, I did eat up a little bit. So I'm gonna probably take my little grinder and I'll just clean it up right here so the nut goes on. But the nut did thread. I double checked it. The nut threaded on perfectly. So, you know, I'm still in the game, but just, you know, keep that in mind. I'll put this. I've been using this little box as a container to put everything back. Yeah, this is more than likely part of the horn assembly. Right, so we're gonna take that. What I'm trying to do, y'all, I'm trying to take this off one step at a time. So when I go to put all this back in, I can kind of like just reverse the steps without having to lose anything. That's what I'm attempting, at least, you know. Let's see. Okay, this is the spring load action for the, I'm assuming for the plate, for the lock plate. So these right here are the turn, I believe those are turn signal springs, from what I was hearing. I guess when you throw your left signal on, once you make the left turn and you straighten up the wheel or whatever, it automatically goes back in its neutral position or whatever you want to call that. Same thing when you turn right. I hear that these wear out, and from what I was told on YouTube, it's best to just replace these while you can. Well, here's the thing. I ordered it, but I ordered it very late. So I'm just gonna have to take care of those and try not to lose them. All right, so y'all, to get up to this point, I'm sorry, I'm probably leaving some steps out, but once you get your locking plate off, right? Here's a few bolts you got to get to. There's a couple little clips you got to remove. Well, I should say the springs for the direction lever, left or right. But there's gonna be the cover that goes under here, right? There's a plastic cover. When you remove that plastic cover, there's a U joint or a bracket, a U-shaped bracket that basically holds the column up. Loosen those bolts. It's about a couple of 13s and a couple of 15s, I want to say. Maybe a couple 15s and a couple of 13s. Remove that. It's going to allow this to drop. There's a, see this right here? See this? You need to free this up. It's a little harness back there. Unclip that harness. It's a pain in the ass, but unclip it so you have some free room to fish it through a little bit to remove this off. Once you remove this off, there's a little pin right here. It's right there. Some have hex bolts. Mine had a Phillip. From right there, if you can see that. Once you remove that, that's gonna get this bad boy free. See that? Let me throw that in there for a second though, because I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll get back to y'all as soon as I get more done. So yeah, we getting to the point where, long story short, there's gonna be a spring you gotta remove. It's sort of part of the ignition cylinder. Make sure you take the hazard off. That's a Phillip. You're gonna remove the tilt column lever. Don't worry about the signal lever. It comes off with the lock column cover. To get these, I think they're called pivot pins. That's one right there. Save yourself the trouble. Order this. Go on Amazon, eBay, whatever. Type that part number in. Order this. It's gonna come with 2 bolts. I used the one that was already in it. I am gonna assume this is the same pitch thread and the same bolt, and maybe they just give you a secondary one as precaution in case maybe you break it or something. I don't know, but it works pretty well. Thread it in hand tight. Get the Allen key. Throw a couple of threads on there. Right, and you know, either get the wrench or, you know, use some grips. It's not that much force. As you turn it, look at that, it's pulling itself out. It's like a little baby pulley. Watch that. All this to fix a damn tilt column. Ain't that something, GM? And it should pop right out. There we go. Whew. Okay. Oh, also, there's like some races. Oh, race bearing caps. Race caps, I don't know what you call it that. Be careful removing them. Just take them a little slowly. This one right here is the top one. This one here is the inner. And they go right between those. And looking a little dry down there, so it's a good time to probably put some grease in there if you got some. Putting the column back together. Just got it somewhat together. High beams is in place, right? But from what I'm watching on YouTube, they say I'm supposed to hear like a, you know, like a spring to throw the key back, which makes sense. But look at this. not making sense, but I don't understand what could cause it. Thinking the pin, but like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like the pin should be more on, but why isn't it more engaged, you know? Like, I don't know. All right, so I just wanted to teach y'all from my mistakes. This right here is where your ignition cylinder goes in. When you put this back together, this right here, there's a groove back here that it needs to sit on. Take like a curved pick, pull that groove up. It has spring back action. Tilt it as much as you can and try to get the end of this over it, so that when you turn your ignition, it gives you that spring back you want. If you don't got that, you have to keep doing it over. It took me a while, actually. And also, quick tip, when you're putting all this stuff back together, use a shit ton of grease. Use a bunch, because that's the only way you're gonna get these parts to stay as you're doing this stuff. Because the old grease that's on this stuff is, you know look how old it is. So use some brand new bearing grease and stuff. You gotta keep these parts like this right here sitting, so you can put it all back together. Well, I'm embarrassed to say this is the third day, but I finally got this whole ordeal done. The biggest issues I had, I thought the spring was bent on the side for the ignition cylinder, the actuator for it. It wasn't the case. It's because I had to basically, as you've seen, I had to get the column to slip over the nub, which is the lever that controls the spring back action. Right there. But that's all done. Blah, 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 blah. Everything is bolted. Guys, if you're gonna do this job, take your time. I put the entire hub and locking and spacer assembly together for the Forever Sharp steering wheel. I mean, I put everything together. It was fully complete. I go to grab the wheel, the whole damn wheel damn near came off with me. You know what my stupid ass forgot? That center nut right there. But it's back on. Got the little locking washer on there, whatever you want to call that. Prong washer, whatever, I don't know. Anyway, that's all on there now. Now, only thing left to do, bolt the steering wheel back on. After I bolt the steering wheel back on, I'll put the column holder underneath back together, and then I'll give you guys like a little small video of how it looks and everything. All right, finished product. Good color coordination. Look real nice with the Hurst shifter. Real nice. New key. Yep. No more broke ignition cylinder with the key stuck in it. That's it, baby. Just take your time, man. Take your time. This steering wheel is from Forever Sharp. See if I get a part number on there for y'all. 1099, I guess that's the part number. So, that's it, man. It's done, man. Hopefully next week, on my next day off, I should have the brake lines complete. This held me up from the brake lines. I wanted to get this done, but look at that, nice and sturdy. Nice and sturdy, no more wobbling and moving. Looking good, man.